A very good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the 189th episode of the Together for Education webinars brought to you by Notebook. Just over 2 years ago, when the pandemic had just set in and schools had closed down, we here at Notebook felt it was our duty to set up a platform for educators to connect meaningfully on discussing problems they were facing with the rising needs of digital education and online learning and arrive at common solutions. Today, 189 episodes later, this platform has grown much bigger than we could have ever anticipated, all thanks to your love and support. We have discussed extremely curricular topics here like digital learning, NEP and assessment, extracurricular topics like sports and theatre, topics like school finance and management, and even evolved topics like mental health. Today, we have a wonderful topic, community services at school. Well, community services is a very relevant term in the modern day scenario where kids mostly grow up in nuclear families. Putting others first is something completely unheard by many of them. Community services at school plays a very important role in such an age. It teaches about assisting the community, giving to the less fortunate, helps learners about compassion, and so many other things. Our first speaker on this topic is Mr. Philip Burrett. Mr. Burrett retired as the Deputy Headmaster from the illustrious Doon School in Dehradun after 44 years of serving in education across various institutions. Mr. Burrett served the Doon School as Housemaster, Head of Department, Dean of Activities, Dean of Student Welfare, Deputy Headmaster, Second Master, and Acting Headmaster. With great distinction, he also carried out a visioning exercise for the Doon School in the year 2011. An in-depth study of a number of British public schools and various schools in the US. Mr. Burrett qualified as a leadership trainer at Wellington College, UK in the year 2000. He's also an athlete, an adventurer, and a naturalist. And we here at Notebook are truly privileged to have Mr. Burrett as our senior advisor. Sir, thank you so much for being here today, and over to you.
Thank you, Gregory. I hope I am visible and audible.
Absolutely, sir.
Yeah, thank you so much for that introduction. Very good evening to everyone at Notebook and Achin to begin with, and everyone else. Also to our esteemed panelists and to our guests who tuned in. In my view, community service is a very, very important add-on to a school's offering to its students. And it must start early and be graded gradually as the student grows. It should not be called extracurricular because actually it should be a part of the curriculum. It is as important as any subject teaching. Now, a school exists in an area and it draws its students from that catchment area around the school. And therefore, a school needs to serve that community, that area. Schools have to reach out to a larger community outside the walls. Very often, schools put up walls between themselves and the community. And they open it once a day, once a year. At founders, when the school is on display, people come in. But I think the walls of a school should be figuratively, broken down, and the children should leave the school more often. People should come into the school more often. There should be no walls between the community and the school. And education is not about oneself. It is about teaching children that we are here to serve, that we have to give back. And even before the ISC and the ICSE boards introduced the concept of SUPW, many schools were doing their form of community service. In the Doon School, we had the quota systems where boys had to do a certain amount of hours of community service. And then, of course, later the government mandated the SUPW, which in my view actually spoiled things, it destroyed things. Because the moment you come in with a sort of syllabus or grading or certain rules regarding this work, it just loses its impact. And then there is attendance to be taken, and all that, I think, destroys it. I think that schools have failed in giving the students this love for community service, because most children are hardwired to serve. And while the government should mandate community service, it is there in the NEP, but they must not kill it by having a syllabus and a textbook with grades and all that. I think that it should be left up to each school to handle the way they think best a school can serve and reach out to a community. Because every school and every community has its own, own problems and issues. In some areas, it may be there are a lot of slums, and the slum children need a lot of learning. There may be itinerant labor. Some schools may need computers. Some areas may need computers to teach children of the less fortunate. In some areas, dispensing with medicine or to sick people, or just simply giving blankets and daily rations to homeless street dwellers. I think that charity begins at home, and community service in school must start with work within the school, like lost property offices, campus cleanliness, water harvesting schemes, first aid, life saving, and other things. You can have adult education, because many of the workers of a school, the support staff, they sometimes would like to learn English or maths. Once a student has had a couple of years of doing community service within the school compound, he can then go out and address certain projects outside. Helping the poor, feeding the slum children, adopting certain village schools, adult education, which I've just mentioned, water harvesting, building urinals, women empowerment, microfinancing projects, certain skill developments, like teaching women in slum areas and in rural areas how to sew, spin, weave, make shawls, make carpets. Opening the school facilities to certain poor schools in the area, so that the school the school children can have sports clinics and teach children of the less privileged how to play basketball and football and cricket. We could, in my school, a lot of juniors had to learn sign language, because it was a part of understanding people who couldn't hear. We have a very, very big blind school and a very big institute for the hearing impaired, and our children worked with these two groups of people. I know a school in Delhi where the students decided to open 4 or 5 classrooms every evening and get it ready with just blankets and thin mattresses. And they brought in about 50 homeless women and children, only women and children, and served them a soup and a very simple fare, soup and chapatis. The students raised money. The students asked their parents to contribute. Somebody came and cooked it. They had an outsourced cook. And every night, these people would come in. But by 6:30 in the morning, they had to be asked to leave. And another batch of students came in to clean the classrooms, roll up the mattresses, roll up the blankets, and get the classrooms ready for the next day's work. And this was done throughout the winter season. At the school I worked in, at Doon school, we worked in town and we cleaned up graffiti and the betel nut stains. We cleaned rivers of plastic. We planted trees. We even opened an ambulance service where students and teachers actually drove our own school ambulances. And we had a number in town, so they would phone us if there was an emergency. And our teachers and students would go and take injured and sick people to hospitals. We also held medical camps in villages where groups of doctors, they checked up, dental, they did dental and eye and gynae checkups, and even cancer screening. And in one of these camps, we even detected an old man who had mouth cancer, and he was then treated. Sometimes a school can offer a slum or a village school advice, just advice on their legal rights. The government has so many schemes of their travel, their loans, banking, other legal rights. But they're not empowered because they're not aware of it. Sometimes our students have helped villagers get Aadhaar cards. How to apply for medical subsidies. So sometimes they just need advice. See, once a school has established a reputation in the community for community service, it can get involved in national disasters. Like at Doon, we did a lot of work in Latur and in Uttarkashi after the earthquakes, in Orissa after the tsunamis, and in all states where there was floods or landslides, even in our own states, the first people to rush in there often were boys from our school and teachers. I know I've spent weeks out living in a bus, handing over food and blankets after the 93 Uttarkashi earthquake. Um, it is this building of consciousness to serve others less fortunate than ourselves, which must start early. Um, Sometimes just collecting money, collecting books, collecting clothes, leading to these, collection drives. And then the school can actually distribute this. I think it has to be a full school policy and not left to a group of students who call themselves the community service group or a squad. I think it's got to be top down, everyone involved. And there can be certain stipulated hours that a student should do, in community service. Also, I think that community service should not be just lip service to the activity so that the school can tick off the box and say, we've been there, done that. Some schools just do a little cleanup work on the 2nd of October, Gandhi Jayanti. But I think community service has to be real and meaningful if it has to touch the hearts and souls of people and the real problems. Some schools can join other schools and do joint ventures. This helps the students to understand and work with each other and bring about a sense of cooperation in a world that is so filled with competitive activities. One of our students who returned from an exchange abroad brought home the idea of distributing milk to children of people who were building high-rise buildings, these itinerant workers. So they sponsored the milk. They got the tumblers ready, the glasses ready, and they actually distributed this at building sites. And this was a part of the students' IB CAS program, the Creativity Action Service. So as a part of the International Baccalaureate, students have to do certain community service. Also, it's very important to build a CV and to put community service on a CV. I know that this is not really from the heart. A lot of students just do it for the sake of fluffing up their CV. But even if that is the motive, at least the work is being done. I think, as I said earlier, for community service to be meaningful, it has to be real work. And I think I've mentioned in previous webinars, a school called Gordonston in Scotland, which does real work, firefighting. They do rescue work out at sea, real rescue work. People who are who are marooned, at sea. During the Second World War, this school actually helped rescue British soldiers who were coming off the coast in Dunkirk. And so I think schools have to have a well-formulated plan of how to do community service. And I think teachers have to get involved. The more a teacher gets involved, the more they can drive it. And as I said earlier, it's got to start within the school and move to the wider community outside. And many schools can actually tie up with NGOs and government bodies who have plenty of funds for this sort of work. Community service is not just about us helping the it's about us, the fortunate, helping and giving some of our time to the marginalized. It is to make our children conscious that they have advantages that others don't. We are the haves and they are the have-nots. It is to get them conscious of the fact that we need to connect with these people, because it is our fortunate schools. These children are going to be in government one day. They're going to be calling the shots. They're going to be running this country. And therefore, they need to have a connect with people who are marginalized. They need to learn to pay back. I want to leave you with a small story about how my school adopted a village about 30 kilometers away from school. There was a small stream that ran through the village. And this village was a hamlet of just 8 very, very poor, untouchable families. We worked with an NGO that was very involved with water power, small mini hydro power projects. Now our boys helped divert the water into these houses. So every toilet that we built had running water coming through it. We then set up, these toilets were made with plastic bottles filled with sand, which was a technology that we picked up from Mexico. Now, one village was given cows, and they became, they milked these cows. The other was given a fish pond, so they had fish. The third was given a small flour mill, small grinding mill, and they ground their wheat and they packaged it. The other one, of course, was turned to fruit farming. One house was given goats, and in this way, every one of those 8 households were provided with a form of livelihood, a source of livelihood. And it was just that the school kept visiting this village for about 4 to 5 years. And when we saw that they were developed, they were happy, and they were now on their own feet, we turned away from them and we went to another area. So it is helping somebody to help themselves. As a Chinese proverb, you can give a man a fish, or you can teach a man how to fish. So we taught them we first gave them the fish, and then we taught them how to fish. And then we moved on. And I want to end by saying that through community service, we learn to give back to society. We teach children how to be accountable and responsible. And the goal is always to help people learn to help themselves. And in the end, the real proof of a school's community service scheme is how many of these children come back and get into a career where they give back to society. They come back from abroad, they have fancy degrees, and they get into the corporate sector. But even in the corporate sector, there is CSR funds to be diverted. How many of these people turn their attention all their lives into something they learned in school? Thank you very much for listening. And I hope this has set the ball rolling for the experts to carry on. Thank you, and over to you, Gagoni.
Absolutely, sir. It has set the ball rolling, and thank you so much. Building of consciousness, as you mentioned, like building of consciousness to serve others. It's so true. With that, ladies and gentlemen, we would welcome our next speaker on this topic, Mr. Achin Bhattacharyya. Mr. Achin is the founder and CEO at Notebook. A chartered accountant by training, Achin was a director at Deloitte prior to starting Notebook. He has worked in India and abroad in various senior capacities in GE, PwC, KPMG, and Deloitte. Achin is a member of the Institute of Chartered Accountants of England and Wales, a fellow of the ICAI, a member of CPA Australia and CPA Ireland, and a member of CIMA UK. He is also the recipient of the prestigious Indian Achievers Award. An avid reader and a passionate traveler, Achin has keen interest in economics, history, literature, and philosophy. He is a regular speaker at various forums and chambers of commerce, and also contributes articles to various publications regularly. He is also on the board of some of the most renowned corporates and contributes significantly to their brand strategies. Achin, a very good evening, and over to you.
Good evening, everyone. Gauri, I hope I'm audible.
Absolutely.
I once again welcome all of you to today's session. I remember a very wonderful quote by Mother Teresa, who founded the Missionaries of Charity and dedicated her life to the underprivileged. She once said, "Let us not be satisfied with just giving money. Money is not enough. Money can be got. But they need your hearts to love them. So spread your love everywhere. Spread your love everywhere you go." I think wonderful quote that really sums it up. Community service for students helps them acquire knowledge, life skill, and of course, provide services to people who need it the most. On one hand, it gives youngsters the opportunity to become active members in their communities, creating a positive societal impact. On the other hand, of course, it provides a helping hand where it's most needed. And students in the process develop real-world skills that will not only help them in their academics, but I think more important, in the journey of life. And today, if you look at all the learnings, key takeaways in the process, skills that they develop, they nurture, be it leadership, be it problem solving, be it in terms of collaborating with others, which is so important, time management. With finite resources, how do you fuel your infinite dreams? And being able to communicate your perspective, your thought process. And most importantly, students learn that the work they do can actually make a tangible, real world impact. I think that is a great confidence booster. So on one hand, helps them develop a richer perspective of the world they live in. They learn to take responsibility as open-minded citizens, as part of global community, and get an opportunity to see firsthand as to how much their work can have an impact in the real world. And also get to interact with people who come from, at times, maybe a completely different background, but our fellow citizens. And it's important that we share our time, our well-being, our efforts with them, our prosperity with them. And in the process, learn patience and empathy, which will go a long way to develop a more mature perspective. The other thing is being able to connect what they learn in school with what they see in the real world. And I think it's a unique opportunity to explore academic interest through a real world lens. Now, if a child is intrigued with, for example, a very simple thing like learning about taking care of the planet, importance of disposing waste properly, segregating waste, importance of recycling. But the fact is, if he or she is engaged in a community project, which will ensure proper segregation of waste, recyclables, and if they get to see the entire process as to how it goes to a local recycling center and how it contributes to a greener planet, the impact is tremendous. A student who is volunteering, for instance, in college, in a student body election, can actually get a first-hand perspective about how democracy functions and makes them far more involved citizens. So it's very important that students are able to connect as to what they're actually learning in their textbooks to matters in real life. And volunteering community services provides that unique opportunity. Research has shown again and again that students who give back to communities perform better than their peers. Students who have been active participants in community service are able to work far better in groups, in teams, which is like very essential in today's corporate world. Of course, the other side of it is, now today, whether that be a job interview or a college selection process, the importance, the weightage of volunteering or community services has gone up significantly. I myself have been a part of many interview panels where I have seen as to how much weightage has been placed with regard to a candidate's involvement in community services, because it really goes to a great length to assure the interviewers about the softer, the human side of the candidate, and also his or her involvement in terms of community project, in terms of being able to work in groups, in terms of reaching out. Along with that, of course, other things like social benefit. Because the moment a student is involved in such projects, it allows for a special bond with those who are being served. So increase in terms of social awareness, in terms of coming to know of one's responsibility. Now, it's very easy to have drawing room conversations, very easy to sit and criticize. but to roll up your sleeves and get going and actually make a tangible impact, I think that's where the beauty lies. That's where the value lies. And along with that, of course, it helps in terms of growing one's network. Those who are involved in volunteering activities gets to network with like-minded people. And that's a great plus. Being able to understand the strength of working in groups. The other aspect is that in today's world, in considering the fact that practically many of us live in nuclear families in a highly individualistic society, which more and more is becoming very achievement driven, very social media driven. So there are instances where people don't even know their next door neighbor. Two people residing in a house and both busy with their mobile phones, looking at the screen for hours. So all these things, the kind of stress it generates, I think volunteering and community service is one of the best ways to reduce one's stress level, to take care of depression. Because one of the major factors for depression is social isolation. So being able to get along, being able to ensure that I think the biggest satisfaction that one can get is if we can bring smile to someone else's lips. Someone who really needs help, if you are able to impact his or her life positively, I think nothing can be more satisfying than that. So volunteering helps us feel better about ourselves, about our overall contribution, and in the process is tremendously satisfying. Even volunteering with animals, with pets, research has shown again and again that it reduces stress, anxiety tremendously, and really lifts one's spirits, boosts the mood. Along with that, of course, confidence booster. Because the moment you feel that, yes, we are making a tangible impact, we are agents of change. We are not among those who are only sitting and criticizing or having drawing room conversations. We're actually going out and doing something and making a positive impact. That's a tremendous confidence booster. Cognitive benefits, of course, enhancement of knowledge, gaining from new experiences, and developing and improving interpersonal communication skills. The other part, of course, is if you look at today's static sedentary lifestyle, lack of open areas in urban places, hectic lifestyle, long working hours. It is a great way to stay active. One of the best benefits of volunteering. Active physically, active mentally. And I think everyone has an opportunity to contribute. Even if there are constraints in terms of time, in terms of transportation, or for those who are specially able, even for them, I think there's an opportunity for everyone to come forward, join hands, and contribute to the process. There are opportunities of even volunteering or helping out from one's home, reaching out to somebody over phone, maybe a retired senior citizen who has no one else to talk to, maybe reaching out to him or her and ensuring, maybe across the phone, maybe living in a different city. But the fact that we're reaching out, the fact that we're creating an impact, the fact that we're making someone else feel better, that's hugely satisfying. The other aspect is, of course, working as a team. I think it's wonderful when families get together and contribute as a team. And that's the best way to teach our next generation. Of course, children, they look up to their parents, look up to adults in terms of what to do and how to behave. So the moment families come together, work as team, when friends come together and work as team and ensure that they create an impact, it's wonderful, creates great bonding. And I think it's very easy to start. Simple things like if we encourage our child to visit an elderly neighbor who is staying alone, maybe children abroad, helping to walk a neighbor's pet who may need help, helping someone, a younger student with his or her homework, offer grocery shopping, either for elderly neighbor or someone who needs help, maybe differently able, offering free childcare, either to family, friend, neighbors, anybody who needs help, or small fundraising or donating activity to any cause which is heartfelt, which we care about, participated in either be a food or a clothing drive, ensuring that the fact that in the mad rush for consumption, things which you don't need and we merely dispose, they reach someone else who will make much better use of them. Donating small things. So I think it's a wonderful topic, a great topic. Burrett sir is going to give us a great start. And we have a wonderful panel here today, panel of very senior educators, who I'm sure are going to share with us their own real life experiences and their own take on this particular topic. I thank all of you for giving me a very patient hearing. And I look forward to hear the views of the panel on this. Over to you, Gauri.
Thank you so much, Achin, for this wonderful deliberation. And as I mentioned, we do have a wonderful panel here today. But as ladies and gentlemen, before we start with the panel, and a little bit about us here at Notebook. We at Notebook are an edtech platform that creates short videos pertaining to the school curriculum. This means that every topic from every subject of the school syllabus has been converted into a series of short videos that can be used in two different cases. One is when you as a teacher are starting out a topic in your classroom, you can play one of these videos as a method of visually introducing the topic to a student. These videos are just 6 to 10 minutes in duration and take up very little of your class time while offering the right kind of material to students to generate curiosity and excitement. The second is when the student is studying at home months later, they have access to the same videos on their personal devices, be it a laptop or a smartphone. They can watch the videos over and over again until they get a very clear understanding of the topics that you have taught. What I'm going to do now is play some short snippets of notebook videos so that you know what they exactly look like.
Hello and welcome to Notebook. In today's video lesson, we will discuss the chapter Understanding Our Criminal Justice System. The first character that we have here is the policeman. The police is supposed to accept all complaints. The official procedure starts with the filing of the FIR or the first information report.
The scene opens with Gerard making a phone call, standing by the table. Gerard is described as a man of medium height, wearing horn-rimmed glasses and a lounge suit with a great coat.
Let's draw 2 points on a page. Now try to connect those points in every possible way. You can see the shortest path among them is the straight one. There are 2 kinds of lines here, the curved ones and the straight line. We will learn about both.
So ladies and gentlemen, these were some short snippets from notebook videos as you just now saw. Today, we have connected with over 3,500 schools and have had more than 44 lakh students benefit from our videos. If you head over to our website, www.notebook.school, or use our mobile apps for Android and iOS, you would find more than 10,000 such videos at your disposal. With that, it is now time to introduce a wonderful panelist we have with us here today. We have with us today Dr. Upasna Yadav, Principal, Army Public School, AAC and CC. She is an MSc in Biotechnology and a PhD in Biotechnology. Ma'am has been the venue director for CBSE COE Bangalore and awarded as Best Principal by Global Leaders Foundation. Education World Survey for Schools in India has adjudged Army Public School, AAC and CC as rank 3 in Karnataka and rank 3 in Bangalore. Ma'am, a very good evening and welcome to the panel. Next, we have with us Ms. Chhaya Chaturvedi, Principal, Bharti, Krishna, Vidya, Vihar, Nagpur. Ma'am is a BCom, MA in English, and a BEd. She has a teaching experience of 27 years. She has been the department head for more than 12 years and has been the best teaching faculty in the school. Ma'am has also received the Best Scriptwriter and Director Award in district level drama competition on environmental issues. She loves cooking and listening to music in her spare time. Ma'am, a very good evening and welcome back to the panel. We also have with us today Ms. Rupakshi Narang, Principal, Vijaya Senior Secondary School, Bahadurgarh, Haryana. Ma'am started her career in November 2004 as a substitute teacher, and it was the start of her journey as an academician. Next year, she was promoted to activity in charge and taking classes of 6 to 8. In 2006, she was promoted to primary in charge and started taking physics of classes 9 and 10. Till 2016, she was taking physics classes, and in 2017, she was promoted as the principal. She has received the Best Rachna Award for her poem Meri Fiancé in January 2020 by Hindi Vikas Manch. Ma'am, a very good evening and welcome to the panel once again. I would request the panelists to switch on their cameras, please. And a very good evening to all of you once again. I would like to come to Upasna, ma'am.
Good evening,
Ma'am,
Dagori.
good evening, ma'am. Ma'am, I would like to ask you, start with this question, like how do you perceive community services being an active part of school activities, and how does it, help the students' growth in the process?
See, Gaguri, for me, community service is not symbolic. It just doesn't mean, to do the cleaning of your premises or in and around you. I feel the integral part of making community service a part of a child growing up. The most key feature to it is to make the children empathetic towards their environment, towards the people around them, who are working with them, who are working for them, who are staying with them. So for me, being empathetic is the core element, is the core feature which I feel I need to inculcate in my students. And that, of course, is also one of our part of the vision of Army Public Schools. Not to just, churn out children with good marks or engineers or doctors, but somebody who is a good person at heart. So a person who is empathetic in nature, who feels for the people around them, will definitely give back to the society. And that's what the essence is of community service. Like we start in our school at the very young age, maybe in grade 1 also. We have small, events called Muthi Bardana. And so we just ask them to bring Muthi Bardana, whatever they can carry in their fist. So that they'll bring to the school, we'll collect it, and we take these children to the orphanages, where they will go to the orphanage. Here in Bangalore, we have BGMS orphanage, a very nice place, where they also have a school for these children, the orphans. And the children will go there, they will take these things along with them, and they'll go and interact with the children over there. And then we also, brought along these children. We invited them over to our school. We took them around. We had an interactive session. They played games together. We gave them a good exposure to, the labs, and we took them in our AC center, the museum. So that was one aspect. We started with that so that even a small child knows, that it is not what I am getting. Generally our children, they live in a bubble. They are well fed, they are well looked after, they have everything laid out on their platter. But there are children, there are people who do not have everything, like my previous learned speakers were sharing, that the less fortunate. So just to give back to them, just by mere saying that we should give back, is not going to, help them to do it over a period of time. It should be a part of their living. It should be a part of their lifestyle, that yes, I have to do certain things to give back to my society, to give back to my community. So along with this was the first venture which we started with the junior children. Then we started the Joy of Giving week at the school. So that, of course, is done. I'm sure many of the schools are also would be doing it. So in that, again, we ask them to bring the books which they have already read, the toys which they feel they would, they can part away. They like them, but they would want to part away. Something which they really like, to give away that. maybe a pencil, maybe a pen, maybe a small toy, maybe a doll. So to learn to give away something which is very precious to you, to inculcate that also, I feel is important, because sadly or happily, I'm really not sure how to put it, but our children majorly, they are privileged, but they're living in a bubble. We are protecting them from all these things, the sadness and the unhappiness and the hunger which the people in our country are facing, particularly in our country. So I feel just by teaching them to keep the environment clean, and of course that is a part of our curriculum, as well as NEP has set it into the curriculum. So everybody does it, and we also have Swachhta Abhiyan. We also have Swachhta, Pakhwada is there. That is a regular curriculum of the school, which every school does, especially in our country. So I feel that we need to, as the leaders of the school, which we actually are quite capable of making a strong impact on the life of the child, on the mindset and their thoughts. So I feel that is a very important aspect as a principal or as a leader or as a teacher, which we can bring about and which we can teach our children. Along with that, we also had, taken the children, our children were also taken to a hospital of terminally ill patients who were old and who were left by their families. I mean, I'm telling you, I was actually a little hesitant before students there. But I thought, okay, let me send a select few who want to go there. And, believe you me, the feedback which I got when they came back to me, to my office, the moment they returned, they said, ma'am, why we didn't go earlier? Why we didn't do it earlier? We should have gone. It was so heartening for me to see, yes, my children have felt for these people, and I'm sure at least that handful would be doing this forever in their life, the impact which that interaction with these people have made. So we try to do several things. We ask the children, we have newspaper in education. Every school has newspaper editions for the children in school. So they're reading those newspapers, and some of them would carry them home. Some of them would leave them in the classroom. Some of them would just make aeroplanes out of that and flowers and some origami. So we told them, okay, why waste the newspaper? You've read it, you just collect it in your classroom. So what we do is we sell all those old newspapers, and then we buy something from that. We go and give it in an old age home. The children will go themselves. They will go and they will give it in the old age home, maybe a water cooler or maybe an almirah, or they'll go and interact with these people, these old age, majorly there are ladies who are left by their families. And they are so happy to see these children coming and interacting with them, talking to them, spending time. And then these children will ask, what should we get you next? So they'll tell, we need a big cupboard with some lockers. So 6 of us will share and all those things. So these children nobody is getting money from the school. They are resourcing it, from their newspapers. Now, instead of throwing these newspapers and tearing them and wasting them, they keep them safe. And we are collecting them, and, kgs of those newspapers are sold to buy that almirah. They go and give it, these things. When Kerala was having floods, a couple of years back, it was very sad. That is the time our children, my class 12 children came up, ma'am, we need to send, some stuff. So we tied up with one of the, army units. Their vehicle was going, you will not believe, we had cartons and cartons and cartons full of ration and clothes and blankets, bed sheets, which these children, they got them themselves. It was completely the children who had planned, class 12, who planned, executed, packed, and loaded into the trucks to be sent to Kerala. So what I feel is, if once you kindle that emotion of empathy in the children, they find their ways and means to help the children. They find these children. And we had initially one novel idea before COVID. We had each one teach one. So from class 9th onwards, every class 9 to 12 children, everybody had picked up one child, maybe a maid's child, or a servant or somebody. They used to spend half an hour, 45 minutes every day with that child. So it helped those children to, cope up, learn more, and that's the way of their giving back without making an extra effort. The child is there in their home, the servant is there in their home, or maybe the maid who is coming to do the some odd jobs at their home, so she'll just bring that child along, and she's just taking out half an hour sitting with the child instead of going and chit chatting with the friend, or spending time on WhatsApp. This each one teach one was a very noble idea. It actually came from another idea which we started off. On their birthdays, generally children are getting sweets, distributing sweets to everybody. I said, on your birthday, you plant one tree. So we started like that. So we asked all the children, wherever you want, okay, you want to plant in your colony, in your house, in your, area, in your, land, or wherever you want, on your birthday, just plant a tree of your choice, maybe a fruit tree or a flower tree or anything. So that idea was brought into the school, each one plants one. And then we had purchased few plants for the children. They planted them, and it was their responsibility to look after those plants. So they used to come, they used to till, they used to put water every day in those plants to look after that plant. So, as the leaders, we can come up with several ideas and to just motivate the children to look around and see where the need is, and to identify what I can do towards my community to return back or to give back to my community. So these are just few ideas apart from what we do like regularly, what every school is doing or which is mandated by CBSE. These are some ideas which we, everybody is coming up, we all are coming up, and we are trying to execute through various clubs. Our children are also a part of Rotary Club of Indranagar. They do a lot of, social service activities along with that. The new idea which has come up now after COVID, which we are planning to, is to teach the ladies, because we have a lot of Jawan ladies and they are staying alone with their families. The husband is posted out, to teach them how to ride, or how to drive a car or ride a bike, how to use ATM, how to fill up Google forms, all those things, our children are teaching their friends, and in their neighborhood, they're going around and they're teaching, they're helping their maids with all these things. So these are some ideas which we all are, executing, and I hope we come up with better ones in future.
Thank you.
Yes.
Thank you so much, ma'am, for your inputs. I would like to move on to Chhaya, ma'am, next. Ma'am, your views on the topic, and ma'am, I would also want to know what is the response of the parents and students on this, like community services at school.
We have integrated curriculum where we have never separated like community services. It's a part and parcel of the curriculum. We have tree plantation drive, which has been taken by the children. They go around a suburb and they plant the tree. They go take care of it. And maximum time, the higher classes children, they have street show where child education, empowerment of the women, or cleanliness, they go in the slum. Because unless and until they come out of verbally speaking and writing a project is very easy, but to go among them and understand them, that is very important. So they go there around, they teach them through street show. And we have a policy where senior children, like taking care, they as soon as the school gets over or in the morning, they all stand in the corridors to take care that nobody should fall, nobody should be hurt. That's a part and parcel. We don't have to teach them, or it's when the committee is formed, automatically they take the charge and start working accordingly. And we visit old age home where the children spend quality time with them. They ask them the question, they spend time with them, they know about them, they entertain them and provide them with certain things. Actually, most of the time, which I have seen with them when I was a teacher, I used to escort with them. The parents are feeling lonely. They were giving them the company. and they were enjoying the company. And I could see the blush on the faces that they were so happy to be among the children. They were connecting their own grandchildren, their son, with our students. And we provide them food, we provide them with things. Secondly, we run a CMCA. It's a student children movement for civic awareness, where the children go around. They take care of. They are like a watchdog of the energy watchdog of the school. They go around the school and teach everyone. If you are not in the classroom, please off the lights and fan. This is the way you are going to conserve the energy for other. And moreover, these children, to spread awareness, they go round. They one day weekly, where they are being escorted by the in charges, where they give a flower and a thank you letter who follows the traffic rule, and a sorry letter to a person who breaks it. It's a way they are spreading the awareness among the children. And once again, ma'am has already told, Upasna ma'am, teach one, teach one. I told them charity begins at home. Please teach your maid children or a maid to write. And we have a peer group where we form a group where they sit together, person knowing, they help the children who are, now there's a learning gap. My school, there are many children who are unable to bear the expense also. And the parents are illiterate. So these children are taking care of them, then they are teaching them, providing them notes, helping them out. And we have a policy on the birthdays. It's already written in the diary that on the birthday, they need, if they want, they can donate books, which is then again deposited to orphanage, given to the orphanage. And on 14th November, it's a regular activity of the school, handful of grain, little one potato, one onion, and whatever toys they are having, and good clothes, not the torn one. Please bring them properly. And then we have seen that we have to hire 5-wheelers, the vehicle to send the things. It was so huge, 2,000 children bringing one fist of grain, and leftover food they are throwing away in the dustbin. We taught them that this food should be collected and provided to the street dog. So they are working out on them. And weak children, where they are helping out with the homework, and children belonging to the Air Force, Scout and Guide, they all collect money. They raise the fund among the teacher outside, and then they send to the those people who are working for us. And we have a Khari Kamai, where the children, parents cooperate in this part. On the PTM day, they bring food item, which they sell out with a little amount of profit, marginal profit. They keep their investment, and remaining profit they hand over to the donation work. And this is the way they are helping out, because I believe when they go out, they visit, they see them, then only they will understand the need of contribution, donation. Otherwise, the people who haves and have nots, those who are having just giving out. But when they reach there, they understand the importance of how fortunate they are that they are having all those things which they are having. And they make birthday cards. It's an activity, school activity, where they make birthday cards and they provide to the orphan children on their birthdays. We have already had a word with the person there. We use send the birthday cards made by the children. Secondly, small children, I start with the activity. It's like in the assembly, I honor them, I praise them, because see, many a time after 2 years gap, the children's behavior is totally changed. And they are in a small classroom, they are having a fight, tough time, teachers are having tough time. What I did, I told them out, do one good deed of helping your neighbor, taking him, the old man, to the morning walk, evening walk, and note down in the diary, the person who is going to do all the good deeds automatically will be appreciated. They have forgotten their mistake, many of the children, and they are noting. I just keep a check whether your diary is completed, how many good deeds you have done. Is just a verbal address to them, and they have writing on it. And then I have decided one day that they will be appreciated for their good deed. Get the grocery for the children. And we have a buddy club. I told once again the same way that they are helping the needy ones, children coming, those who are unfortunate. We are telling them if they are coming from the same way, ask them, they are coming through car. Many are them, those who are coming with their parents. Please have a carpooling and bring those children also to the school. They will also enjoy the ride and they will be safe, because they don't have to walk down. And many activities are there which we are like included in our curriculum. And second question, Garvir, you asked me whether the parents take initiative. Parents do take. And more of the one thing I forgot to tell you, most important need of an hour is an organ donation. We have a campaign where the children have made a board decoration. They have done the board decoration and they have written the notes, and they have, during the PTM, they have made the people aware how they have to do the organ donation. And your organ, it's not only yours, it can be helpful. And teaching old parents, grandparents and all, it's difficult to make them understand. They won't. But when the grandchildren explain them about the importance, that will create an awareness. So they have started an organ donation camp where on the PTMs and all, they explain the senior secondary children, they explain the organ. We have already completed that activity. And parents do cooperate. Many a time they are reluctant, but many of them, they themselves volunteer the program. They themselves take a part. The PTA members and all, they voluntarily come to see how the things are going on. And when demanded, they are always with us to help us. Thank you.
Thank you so much, ma'am. That was really, really heartwarming. I would like to come to Rupakshi, ma'am, next. Very good evening, ma'am.
Good evening, everyone.
Ma'am, so my question. Namaste, ma'am.
Yeah, Gagori, go ahead. Please ask the question.
Yeah, ma'am. So my question would be, how do you perceive community services at school as a part of your school activity, and how much are you promoting it at school, ma'am?
Sure, Gagori. One of the best thing you can do as a human being is to make other feel that they are not alone. I think so. Like if somebody feels that,
Absolutely, ma'am.
yes, I'm not alone, she is with me. So this in my aspect is basically community services. A number of educationalists and principal have talked. So I would like to give my answer, my views as a psychologist, as I'm taking psychology as a main subject in school and acting as counselor and psychologist. So actually, we are having different type. We are abide with the different type of intelligence. When we think about ourselves, then it is intrapersonal intelligence. But when we talk about others, we take it as interpersonal intelligence. And when we talk about community services and others in a school or anywhere in our neighborhood, that's mean we are basically putting ourselves on that shoe. And if you do so, like whenever you act, whenever you behave, because psychology totally focus on your behavior, that how we behave, and how we behave, it makes our personality. So if we are behaving in a right manner and putting oneself in others shoe, that means we are understanding the other, we are understanding them better, that which situation they are going along on, what the problems they are facing, and we'll do according to make them soothe. In psychology, one more term we go along, that is reinforcement. Reinforcement is a process by which a person do the same thing again by positive motivation. So now I come to the ways what we are adopting in school for our children. I tell you, like we have make dress, like one what we can say, that composition of dress where old students they can put their dresses if they are in good condition, so that we all know that 134A students, the people are like, if we talk about in the financial terms, they are weak. So in 134A students, they come, and other students, if they want some uniform or the old books, so there is a bank where we keep this book bank and uniform bank. So students who want this, they can come and they are free to take, which are suitable to them. So we adopt these methods. Second, students learn by learning by doing. So from LKG start, the moral values, there is lot of focus, and by in learning by doing, students enact these activities. Like for example, an old man is going, then you have to carry back. Someone is hurt, he or she has got down, you have to go and pick him or her up. So by these dramatic things, and when children do them themselves, so it's a keen impact on other students also. Am I audible properly?
Yes, ma'am, absolutely.
Okay, fine. Okay, so this is the thing like that we all are adopting in the school, because we all know that community services, it comes under the unpaid work which is performed by the students or anyone in the community to help other. Second, it focuses entire on our thinking skills. If from the very childhood. We motivate the student in school, at home, that they have to adopt these ways in which they have been calculated as a good human being. It will be a deep impact on them. For example, I tell you, I used to tell my students, if you help someone, it will bring smile. The smile will grow bigger. So now who will tell me that who has brought a big smile on anyone's face to your mother? Like if you help your mother in serving the food, you'll see that small curve of the smile, it will be grow bigger. Now you have to tell me and you have to count yourself that in a week for how many big smiles you are responsible. And you won't believe that students came to me, ma'am, I made 3 smiles bigger, ma'am, I made 10 smile bigger. So it starts from the home itself. Like we feel responsible for the family, for our surroundings, neighbors, relation, and then it becomes habitual. If we ask the small students to go along with this thing, definitely they'll merge out as a human being, that they'll feel for all the fraternity, for all the people surroundings or whatever they will meet. They will try to make a better person to live. Because after COVID, I won't take much time, it's already delayed. Because after COVID, we all have seen students are busy in their gadgets, they are just confined to the gadget, they're not finding time to move out. पढ़ाई भी उनकी फोन पे होती और friends भी उनके फोन पे. So that is the time now we have to morally motivate them, pursue them, to focus on the relation, to focus on the life skills, and at school, at home. Both play a very important role, and we all have to motivate the students by these small gestures, by motivating them, because motivation is the key for small students. And the more they get motivated to do it again and again, again and again, as we say that efficacy is achieved by revision. So in this way, we are going to achieve the most out of a particular student. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you so much, ma'am. So thank you all of you for this wonderful discussion. It was absolutely insightful. And I would like to call back Mr. Bhattacharyya for the vote of thanks, please.
I think really a wonderful session. Really enjoyed it. A lot of great thoughts being exchanged, very free-flowing discussion. But sir, thank you as always for giving us a great start and for sharing some very pertinent examples, very relevant examples in terms of community cleaning, other areas. Indeed, sir. I think thank you so much for setting the tone for the evening.
Okay,
Dr.
Thank you. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Dr. Upasna. Thank you so much, ma'am. I think you really emphasized on the importance of empathy, which we couldn't agree more. And I think everything else flows from there, like giving back to society, hospital visits, terminally ill patients. I think that was very touching, very touching. So great examples, ma'am. And thank you so much for sharing your thoughts.
Thank you so much, sir. It was pleasure to be a part of your panel. Thank you so much for the honor.
Our pleasure, ma'am. Thank you so much for sharing your thoughts. I'm sure our audience also enjoyed it tremendously. Chhaya, ma'am, thank you so much. I think again, very beautiful thoughts from your side, where that be visiting old age homes, ensuring that bringing a smile to their lips. And the fact of the matter is, when they get to see you, when they feel, and when the fact is that senior citizens who are missing their grandchildren, when they see these children, I think that's a very beautiful feeling and great way of reaching out. And also energy conservation campaign that you spoke of, so important, especially in today's time, when we see that post the Russia-Ukraine war, energy crisis that's happening all around the world. Energy prices in some countries of Europe have grown almost 4 to 5 times higher. So I think initiatives like this are really, really wonderful. Traffic awareness, etc. So whatever you spoke of, some wonderful, great takeaways, ma'am. Sorry, takeaways. Thank you so much for that. Rupakshi, ma'am, sincerely thank you. So starting from the aspects with regard to psychology, as you rightly mentioned, considering your major and your role as a counselor as well, I think the difference between intrapersonal and interpersonal reinforcement, and from there, I really like the whole concept of book bank and uniform bank. So book bank still we get to hear, but the concept of sharing uniform from senior by seniors just to reach out to juniors, very touching. And the last bit of it, I think that is one of the major takeaways of the evening. How many big smiles did you get? That's really wonderful. Very beautiful and very touching.
Thank you, sir. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, ma'am. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Thank
Bye.
you, everyone.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you, sir. Thank you, Gauri. Good evening,
Thank you.
everyone.
Thank
Bye.
you.
Very
I
good
think
evening.
Bye.
so. Overall, great session, and I look forward to your continued support in the sessions. I thank members of the
Definitely.
esteemed audience.
Very
as
happy to be the part of Notebook.
Our pleasure, ma'am.
Definitely.
Our pleasure.
Our
Yeah.
privilege,
Thank
ma'am.
you. for being-
Okay. Happy Diwali,
Thank you very
everyone.
much.
Thank you.
Same to you, ma'am. Thank you. Take care and goodbye.